Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. Well, today is Christmas Eve, and on that note, I decided to bring you guys a light-hearted story with a really nice ending. Of course, it's not void of drama, but it is still a very nice story. So let's get started. This one is from user Mimi Bright Zola. Today I effed up by accidentally ghosting great first date. So, a while back I was in Korea and spontaneously decided to download Tinder a day before I was supposed to leave since I had no plans that day. Luckily, I found a guy who was willing to meet up with me that day and we planned to meet for dinner in Seoul. Then, he told me he actually had plans at night but was willing to meet up for coffee. I agreed and we end up meeting a few hours later to grab a coffee. He pays for my drink and immediately we connect and talk for a very long time. He was super sweet and very attentive throughout the whole date. I was surprised that we shared many similar interests. He promised that when I visit Korea again, he'd show me around and made tentative plans. He repeatedly told me he wanted to meet again, which I took as a sign of interest. Since I was returning to Japan, I had no intention of continuing to use Tinder. So I asked for another way to contact him. Since we were in Korea, I figured he would have KakaoTalk, a Korean messaging app. So I suggested that I should add him on Kakao. First big F up. I added him on Kakao through his QR code, despite never using the app before. Then sent a quick hi message and closed the app. After that, I forgot about it and we quickly went back to chatting and banter. Eventually, it came around time for dinner, but neither of us wanted to leave early, and since he had his commitment at 9 p.m., he suggested we walk around and grab dinner. I agreed and we walked around the streets of Seoul to find a place to eat. We settled for street food and talked over dinner. This time, I paid for the meal as a thank you for the coffee, and we head back to the station. But since neither of us wanted to depart, we made one last pit stop, and he decided to show me a Korean bookstore. We were supposed to end the date at 7 p.m., but we kept on pushing it back as we found new things to discuss until it reached almost 7:30. It was finally time to go. So we walked to the station together. He told me that he was very lucky to have met me and that I should call him when I reached my hotel safely. We agreed to keep in touch online. We depart and I get on a train. My hotel was an hour and 30 minutes away by train, so 45 minutes in, I decided to spontaneously delete Tinder. Since I had this guy on Kakao, it shouldn't have been a problem to delete Tinder, right? Second F up. When I finally reached my hotel around 9 p.m., I decided to open up KakaoTalk and message him. I look at our chat log and it was empty. I remember thinking, weird, I thought I messaged hi earlier. But I quickly dismissed it and tried to send another message. It didn't go through. So I tested another message, and it didn't work. Turns out I'm partially banned from KakaoTalk because the number I registered with isn't associated with a carrier anymore. This means I can't send messages unless they send me the first message. I quickly go into panic mode and try to contact him through other means. However, I deleted my Tinder account, which was my main way of contacting him. So I thought that maybe I should make another Kakao account with my Korean number and contact him through there. So I install and reinstall KakaoTalk and create a new account. Third F up. Clearly, I wasn't thinking, because there was no way to re-add him since I don't have his Kakao ID. So I backtrack and tried to log into my old Kakao account and just wait for him to message me first. Immediately, I receive a pop-up notification. This account is temporarily disabled. I thought the ban only extended to messaging, but apparently now I can't log in either. I messaged Kakao support and they said it would take several weeks to unban me if they don't find anything wrong. Great. So now I guess I unwillingly ghosted my first date. I really put in the effort to contact him again by trying to find other social media, but to my avail, I had no luck. So I guess I will never be able to contact him again, and the whole date was just one big fever dream of my time in Korea. Edit. Clarifications. I deleted my Tinder account. I tried recreating an account, but he's not there. I can't rematch with him because I'm back in Japan now and I'm too far. He doesn't have Facebook or Instagram. I tried, and I don't have a phone number to save money while abroad in Japan, so I never asked for his. Edit 2. Thank you to all the kind strangers offering to pay for a Tinder Gold subscription, but I will try to exhaust all my free options first. Plus, I would feel bad accepting that kind of aid. I also contacted Tinder support and the response was, after deleting your account can't be restored, but you can create a new account just by logging into Tinder again. If you've deleted your account, you won't be able to get your matches and messages back. Sad face. Well, that's a bummer, to have that kind of first date and really connect with somebody, only to not be able to ever contact them again. Well, that sucks. That's not the story I promised you guys, is it? But, of course, we have an update, so maybe it is. Let's continue with the update then. Hi Reddit, as promised, here is a follow-up. I found him! And ironically, Reddit had nothing to do with the reconnection, but I appreciate how sweet and supportive the Reddit community has been in trying to help me. So here's the full story. I tried the GPS spoofing Tinder hack so many of you suggested and was able to land my account in Gangnam, Seoul, where I initially was when I matched with him. But to my dismay, I couldn't find him at all. I narrowed down my options to his age range, but still didn't work. My index finger was swiping left constantly that I felt like a broken record. I swiped left on hundreds of guys until eventually there were no more matches to be found. So I finally decide to replay the entire date over again in my head and suddenly recall my date explaining how he signed up for a language exchange app to learn English and how he's an active member. I didn't recall the name of the app, but it was a total big brain move that I didn't utilize the power bequeathed before my very hands, which was Google. So now, with a million fewer IQ points, I search language exchange apps popular in Korea and was presented with a few options. Immediately, one of the icons displayed looked very familiar. That's the one, I thought. That's the app that he showed me during our date. I rushed to the App Store to download the app and impatiently fill out the prompts to create a new account. I selected the want to learn Korean and want to teach English options. Finally, I was done creating my profile. The app told me it would take up to 7 days to approve of my account, so I can start finding language exchange partners. Since this was my only lead left, I unwillingly played the waiting game. An hour later, I received a notification that my account was approved. I rushed to the app and nervously scanned the Korean profiles that popped up in my feed. There were profiles after profiles of teen girls with straight black hair and wispy bangs trying to emulate their favorite K-pop idol, or middle-aged guys with flattering selfie angles, but none of them was the guy I was looking for. I was a bit dejected, but found out that the premium subscription allowed me to search for specific users. I fidgeted around trying to find my date from the free users list, but was finding very little luck with that method. I gave in, shelling out the $20 for the premium subscription, justifying that it makes sense to pay for it because at least I'll get to practice speaking different languages. Although that was just an excuse to hopefully rekindle with him. Once my transaction was complete, I accessed the search bar and typed in his Tinder alias. My reasoning was that since his actual Korean name is so common, think John Smith, he wouldn't put it on the app. I held my breath, waiting for the results to show up, but no results were found. I was slightly disappointed, but did not lose hope. Maybe, by a stroke of luck, searching by his Korean name would work? I was doubtful, but grasping at whichever straws I had left. From past experience, searching up his Korean name on Facebook gave me more than 100 results, but none of them were him. I typed his Korean name and pressed enter. I resumed holding my breath and prayed that this would work. The words, 2 results, popped up on my screen. I frantically looked at the results. The profile was of a buff dude and a gnarly bleached blonde goatee. Not my guy, I dismissed. Then I quickly glimpsed at the second profile, and my eyes widened and my heart froze. It was him. It was the guy I so desperately tried to find this past week. I clicked on his profile, but suddenly my anxiety kicked in. What if I message him and he thinks I'm too desperate and it's turned off? I panicked but forced myself to initiate a message anyways. Like, what was I going to say? Hey, sorry for ghosting you for a week. Are we Gucci? What if he's mad? What if he doesn't like me anymore? I took a deep breath to clear my mind and tried to articulately explain my situation in a few sentences. I repeatedly revised and deleted parts of my opening message before I finally decided to take the dive and hit send. Then it was playing the waiting game again. One perk about being a premium member on this app was that you got to see when users are active. After a few minutes, the app said he was active right now. Great, I thought optimistically. He'll message me soon and we'll clear up all misunderstanding. Minutes went by and he didn't respond. That's okay, maybe he's in a conversation with someone else. Several minutes turned into an hour, and 1 hour turned into 2 hours. My stomach churned. Maybe I really did F up by not being cautious enough with my messaging apps. I mean, what kind of a sick psychological game was this? Making me receive a taste of my own medicine? Every time my phone buzzed with a notification from the language app, my ears perked up a bit. But it was always some middle-aged guy propositioning me for a hookup or a white dude with yellow fever trying to use the new pickup lines he learned in Japanese. Occasionally, I'd get a wholesome friend request from someone genuinely trying to learn English. But nevertheless, out of all the 32 messages I received, none were from my date. Yet, I gave him the benefit of the doubt from experiencing how overwhelming the app could be within those 2 hours. I changed my language exchange profile to exactly mirror my Tinder profile. Put my language exchange profile on high visibility mode so that he would notice it. Suddenly, I get an influx of messages from various users in addition to the Reddit notifications from my previous Today I F'd Up post. I couldn't stand it and temporarily muted all my notifications on my phone and headed to class for 4 hours. After class, I was ready to cut my losses and understood if my date didn't want to contact me again. However, I decided to open up the app after class and check my messages, not expecting anything to happen, but still, within me was a nested hope that he still wanted to reach out to me. And there it was. Nested within all the other messages was an unread message from my date. Even though I said I was ready to cut my losses just a few minutes before, I couldn't help but squeal. I couldn't stop my smiling and did an excitement lap around the hallway outside my classroom. He seemed genuinely happy that I found him again and that he could keep in contact with me. I was jumping for joy on the way back home. He resumed our conversation from the week before as if nothing happened. Later in the day, he called me through the language app and we talked about our crazy weeks. I'm just so glad to have found him again and talked to him about various topics. I don't need some crazy intense rom-com-esque relationship. I'm just content with just keeping in contact and seeing what goes from here. I want to thank Reddit for putting the effort into helping me find the guy. Your support helped me gain the courage to take the extra step into searching for him. Heart. Edit. Apparently the app I used doesn't need premium to search for users. FML. I'm out $20. Edit 2. I think he read the post. He's asking me oddly specific questions. Abort! Edit 3. False alarm. He just added my alternate not banned Kakao account because apparently he literally has no other social media. We talked more and he said he was afraid I hated him after ghosting him. Lol. He reconfirmed that he had a great time on our date. I decided to stop being a scared bee and told him I was glad to have met him again. We're supposed to video call tomorrow. Yay! And that's all we know about this story. Hopefully, OP and this guy remained in touch and maybe he traveled to see her or maybe she did again. Doesn't really matter. What matters is OP's happy at this point, she found them and she's gonna get to talk to him, somebody she truly enjoyed talking to when she met him. So on that happy note, I'm gonna wish everybody today happy holidays. And so we've reached the end of the video. I truly hope you guys liked it. If you did, go ahead and click like. Of course, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. Also, here are more videos from my channel that you might enjoy. And having said all that, I will see you guys on the next video.